Good evening and welcome. It was billed as the Grudge series and it's been hit by a massive controversy. England fast bowler James Anderson has been charged under level 3 of the ICC Code of Conduct for allegedly abusing and pushing Indian spinner Anderson-Jadeja. The incident took place during the first match at the Trent Bridge in the ongoing series. The ICC tried to mediate, but both India and England are adamant on taking the complaint forward. The question is, should James Anderson be banned, even as this much anticipated series seems to have suddenly blown up?
On day 2 in Nottingham, the England versus India series became the real grudge series. James Anderson crossed the line in the spirit of the game. The pacer allegedly pushed and abused Indian all-rounder Anderson-Jadeja. Anderson has been charged with level 3 offence, which says threat of assault on another player. After a preliminary hearing, the full hearing will take place within 14 days. A ruling will be used within 48 hours of the hearing. That is when the ECB and James Anderson will know their fate. If found guilty, James Anderson could be banned for 4 and 8 one-day matches. And if he is banned for lesser offence, he may only be fined and not banned.
The behaviour of Anderson was not appropriate. It was completely uncalled for, the way he has behaved, and I am of the firm opinion that is strong and stringent action should be taken against him. The team management has already lodged a complaint. Now the ICC will be deciding if the offence was of which level. The moment the level of the offence is decided, action will be taken.
38.
Anderson has been England's main bowler for the past few years. If he is banned, it will certainly weaken the English side.
4, that's not the number of appeals, that's the number of appeals.
No, it's not a physical assault, like he's not pushed it, that's what he's saying it, I want to I don't like to see Anderson banned for 3-4 test matches, because I think he's the best bowler, at the same time, he should have behaved betterly.
James Anderson was adjudged the man of the match in the first test in Nottingham. But in the turn of events now, he may well have become the villain of the game. Sports Bureau headlines today.
The English Cricket Board and the English cricket team are up in arms. They say the Indian team is making a mountain out of a molehill. They're even alleging a conspiracy. They say James Anderson is their top player. India is scared of him. Therefore, they're trying to find some way of easing him out of the test series. Is James Anderson indeed guilty as charged? And should he be banned for the next 2 test matches at least? Joining us on centre stage tonight, live from London, former English captain Nasser Hussain. We also have with us Saurav Ganguly. There, I can see him now. Welcome, Dada. Nikhil Chopra is joining us in the studio. And also, Aaj Tak's cricket editor, Vikrant Gupta. I want to ask Vikrant first, where does the truth in this matter lie? Because the English media and the English Cricket Board would have people believe that India has hatched some conspiracy to ensure that James Anderson is stuffed out of this test series. Does India have a strong complaint? And how do we know that we have a strong complaint if there's no CCTV footage to back what we say?
Well, the ICC would have known that, Rahul, because I get to hear the fact that on the second day the incident happened, the Indian management reported that to the ICC. The ICC said this is a very serious charge. This is under level 3, which means that it's outside of the purview of the match referee. So we'll have to have a judicial commissioner. Now the ICC did some kind of initial investigation and they realized, yes, indeed there is a case. So that is why the ICC has decided to press charges. A. B. I don't think the British media are coming out and saying that this is a ploy by the Indians so that Anderson doesn't get to play. Anderson can still play in the entire series even
Alistair Cook has said that. He was asked a question
even if Jimmy Anderson
where he
is banned,
says that they're trying to do this because they want to see the back of Jimmy Anderson.
Ultimately, what matters is in black or white. Did Anderson do that or did he not do that? And if it did that, Alistair Cook cannot
if he's Nasser
justify
Hussain
that.
been prima facie found guilty, and now the question is of establishing the quantum of guilt, then why are we seeing such a violent reaction from the English cricket board, the English press and the English team, who are almost making it seem as if India is hatching a conspiracy? Instead of looking at the abuse that James Anderson hurled at Ravindra-Jadeja, why is India being made to seem like the villain in the piece, sir?
Sorry, is that to me?
Yes,
Nasser?
Nasser, it is.
It might seem like that from India, but here in England it is not. I can trust you. It is not like that at all. India have put in a complaint against Jimmy Anderson, which they rightly can do. I wish they'd gone through the match referee. That's what he's there for. He got 4 umpires and a match referee. That should have been their first port of call. And now it comes down to one person's word against another, really. You know, Mahendra Singh Dhoni rightly is completely backing his players, and rightly said today in the press conference, and I completely agree with him, if there is any kind of physical contact, it shouldn't be condoned by the game, and I'm fully behind that. I want both sides to play really tough, aggressive cricket. Verbals and sledging have been part of the game since it began, basically. But, you know, England deny it. England deny there was any kind of physical contact, and when it comes to something that's off the field and not seen under cameras, I'm afraid it's going to come down to one person's word against another, and it's really disappointing because it could be a fantastic series, and we don't need all this stuff, all this politics off the field, because the cricket really should be played on the field, but played tough. You know, I like the way Anderson plays his cricket. I like the way Dhoni and Kohli and the Ishant Sharma, Joe Root confrontation. I like tough cricket, and you've got another man there in Sourav Ganguly who likes tough cricket. But let the off-field stuff be sorted out by the ICC.
Okay, Lawrence Booth is with the Daily Mail in the United Kingdom, our sister publication, and I want to go across to Lawrence Booth because he's written an article where Alistair Cook has been quoted saying that India is making a mountain out of a molehill. The same thing is what Michael Vaughan is saying as well. Seems pathetic to me, these allegations. It's almost as if he doesn't deserve punishment. Why was India late in lodging the complaint? These people are trying to find a way of easing him out. They want him banned. Now, if there is indeed a case of physically pushing Ravindra-Jadeja, then surely even you would accept, Mr. Booth, that India is well within its rights to go ahead and lodge this complaint and fight it all the way till the very end.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's not a question of even me. I mean, I was simply reporting what Alistair Cook was saying. I mean, I don't take the view that India are not within their rights to press this case. If Anderson did get physical with Ravindra-Jadeja, then he will have to face the consequences. I mean, the British press certainly aren't taking the view that this is a ploy by the Indians. That's something that Alistair Cook said and has been faithfully reported by us. As Nasser pointed out, it is a shame that this is blighting the build-up to this test, but you know, let's see what the let's see what the ICC do about this, and Anderson could face a ban.
What does the evidence show us, Lawrence Booth? Do you have a sense yet of whether there is indeed adequate evidence for James Anderson to be banned for 2 test matches for what he did with Ravindra-Jadeja?
Well, there isn't really any evidence as yet. It's just it's one person's version against another. I mean, I was in the press conferences earlier today with Cook and Dhoni. Dhoni is adamant that India handled themselves very well, that Jadeja could have got involved further in the altercation but didn't. He thinks Jadeja was very well behaved in this. Cook was saying that he believes Anderson's version of events. Now, he wasn't entirely clear what that version of events was. The ICC press release says that there was shoving and abusing. So it's up to Anderson to disprove that. Obviously, the ICC believes that there is enough of a case to bring a level 3 charge against Anderson. So we'll have to wait and see. The problem is the evidence as such is simply one man's word against another at this stage.
Lawrence Booth, we leave it there with you. Thank you very much for joining us with your perspective. I want to go across to Sourav Ganguly, because you've got the English now lodging a counter complaint against Ravindra-Jadeja, saying that he's as much a part of this physical face-off as the charge against James Anderson. Nasser Hussain says it's one person's word against the other. How will the ICC adjudicate on this? And at a time when the British captain, former players are saying that India is overreacting, making a mountain out of a molehill because they want to see the back of James Anderson, Saurabh.
To be honest, I actually got to know it from the newspaper, Rahul, and and I was there in the commentary box in Nottingham, and it didn't register me. Neither was it discussed in Nottingham at all during the Test match. So I was a bit surprised when I got to know it yesterday from one of our journalists. So it's something which hasn't struck. But if there is no proof, if there is nothing on camera, one person's word against the other, I'm not too sure how much is that going to hold up against the ICC. Also, I think the relations between the two boards, the BCCI and the ECB, are very good at the moment. You can see it, the BCCI, ECB and Australia, they are on good terms. So I'm not too sure how far this will go. Yes, this could be a ploy for India to stop Anderson from doing all that he does on the ground. He does overreact at times when he's bowling, and I think he's got to control that. It's pretty apparent on TV. But unless and until you have proof...
But do you reject outright this English conspiracy theory that India is cooking up these demons because they want to see the back of James Anderson? Now, surely if Dhoni backs this complaint, then and you can see him walking out at that same time, he's not making this up. Something happened which Dhoni feels strongly about, which is why both he and Duncan Fletcher want to push this all the way till the end, Dada.
I don't think so. I don't think India needs to do a conspiracy theory against England. Against Jimmy Anderson, yes, it's one bowler. The rest of and probably Stuart Broad. These are the two bowlers who actually put India under pressure. The other two haven't been that special in the Trent Bridge Test match. So I don't think it's a conspiracy theory. It's more of a theory to put pressure on Anderson to keep quiet, because he does talk a lot on the ground. But as I said, firstly, if there is no proof, nothing will happen. Secondly, the relations between the two boards is so good that ultimately we will see a patch-up. Thirdly, when all these ICC happens, the moment it goes to the court, moment it goes to the ICC committee, it takes a matter of time. There will be proof shown, there will be committees appointed to decide that by the time this Test series will be over.
I want to put out the reaction from Mahendra Singh Dhoni at the press conference earlier this evening. This is what the Indian captain said about the face-off between Ravindra Jadeja and James Anderson and why he's so keen on pushing this right till the very end.
I think whatever we have put in forward has exactly been replicated by the press release that has been sent by the ICC. So we can't really add anything over that because it's exactly what has happened. And we felt what happened was wrong, so we went ahead with the charges. So apart from that, we can't really say anything, till the ICC decide what needs to be done. We talk a lot about the spirit of the game and everything, and there are guidelines, that needs to be followed. There have been a few individuals from our side also in the past that have crossed that line, and it's a very difficult one. So, you can be aggressive, you can be vocal, everything is fine, but there are certain guidelines that are laid and we should be following all of that. Yes. Well, I think I'm not really worried about that, but what definitely I would like to do is, to make sure that the remainder of the matches, is played in the right spirit. And at the same time, it shouldn't be very docile. We want the players to be aggressive, we want them to say a few things, but at the same time it's very important not to flow with it and cross the boundaries. And I think it will be our responsibility to make sure it's played in the right spirit, and we'll try our best to maintain that.
That is Mahendra Singh Dhoni, very firm, very adamant. Nikhil Chopra about wanting to take this all the way through. He's convinced that they're on the right side. Now, do you accept the English theory that the Indian team is overreacting, or do you think that James Anderson was out of line and India now needs to ensure that he's banned for the next two matches?
Well, most importantly, I guess Mahendra Singh Dhoni was with Ravindra Jadeja while he was batting.
Sure.
And while we saw those footage that when they were walking out for lunch, he was in between Jadeja and James Anderson. So there must have been something going on that made Mahendra Singh Dhoni so adamant. And walking towards the dressing room, I don't know whether he was the eyewitness or not. That's what made him adamant that he wants to level these charges and he wants to go out right to the end. And also Duncan Fletcher. So they must have discussed it in the dressing room. And all this conspiracy theory, it doesn't make sense, because by the time the judicial commissioner is set, you find a particular man, the inquiry sets in, he would have 2 test matches would have passed. So I don't think
he will have the right to appeal.
And then he can carry on playing.
If he exercises that right to appeal, it will take another 30 days for the second round to be completed.
So he'll be playing the entire series. So that motive part is not true from the ECB side or whatever the British media is saying.
Why then, Nasser, is the English Cricket Board reacting in the manner that they have? What's your sense of the reaction where they say that they're reacting with surprise about the allegations made by the Indian team against James Anderson? They say that Ravindra Jadeja is indeed the one who breached the code of conduct. Now, surely if India is the country that went out and complained first, the English Cricket Board should be willing to allow an inquiry to take place instead of jumping to the rescue and to the defence of their player, sir.
Well, I guess any board would jump to the defence of their player. You know, that's what cricket boards do, that's what captains do, that's what creates team spirit. I think they reacted with surprise because they didn't know too much about it initially, because the complaint went via the ICC, and I keep saying that really it should have gone through the match referee. The moment anyone, whether it be MS Dhoni or Jadeja or anyone on the England side, feel aggrieved at something, there is a match referee there to report these things to. And I guess that if it takes two to tango, really, if there was an incident between Jadeja and Anderson that has been reported, the ECB went to Anderson and said, was there an incident leading up to the dressing rooms indoors in the pavilion? And Anderson would have said, yeah, we had a confrontation, we had words, there was a lot going on, we had a go at each other.
But I don't think, Nasser, the problem is just in the exchange of words. Rather, the problem comes in when Anderson physically pushes Ravindra Jadeja, and that really is what is the bone of contention. Sledging is not new. Nasser Hussain, Sourav Ganguly, everybody has been a part of top flight international cricket. Sledging is part and parcel of the game. But why would it come down to a situation like this, Dada? In your sense, as someone who was there, who didn't see this incident but is now picking up what you are, why do you think it would come to a situation where James Anderson actually goes out and pushes Ravindra Jadeja, if at all that happened?
Yeah, that's the point for me, Rahul. If at all that has happened, I actually didn't see it, and Nasser is here with us. I don't know whether Nasser noticed that during the test match as well. I really didn't notice it until I actually got to here yesterday. And we'd have to really see the footage, whether he's actually pushed him, or whether he's just a tap on his shoulder. At the present moment, it's something pretty vague to all of us.
Nikhil, do you read much in the supposed delay? This happened on the 118th over on day 2. The charge is that India complained on day 5, which is not entirely true, because Vikrant says that a complaint was pressed on day 2. But the English Cricket Board makes a lot of the fact that you actually waited till the end of the test match to go and lodge a formal complaint.
Well, I guess, we've been hearing this, and Vikrant's been saying this from day 1. That the important thing is, when this incident took place, the lunch hour, it was brought to the notice of the match referee, and that's when they decided that this is not in the purview of the match referee. The level 3 charge, as it may be, it has to go through. Yeah, it has to go through the ICC. So that's when it went through the ICC post the game. But the match referee was spoken to about this incident that very moment, just after.
But these, Nasser, also seem part of standard English tactics to psych up visiting teams. We remember what happened in 2007 with the jelly beans incident, where Zahir Khan accused England of throwing jelly beans on the pitch while he batted. Now, these things have happened also. So, is it therefore part of the English team's preparation to try and just rattle the visitors?
No, far from it. And that's the last thing on England's team's mind, that have not won a test match for eight goes. So they are on their mind. They're just trying to win test matches, to be honest. So, like I say, India played tough, England played tough. That is what this is all about. It was hot at Trent Bridge. There were two sides going at each other. The pitch was about as docile a pitch as there's ever been. And we got to remember on the outside that these guys care passionately about playing for their country. They care absolutely desperately about playing for their country. And sometimes it gets heated. Every country have been there. We've had Mitchell Johnson, we've had Michael Clarke, we've had James Anderson, we've had Ishant Sharma going at Joe Root. This is what it's all about. People care. Indians
But there
care,
is a difference, Nasser. It's not about giving the player a piece of your mind. It's about getting physically aggressive with someone, pushing him around. Surely that cannot be acceptable, and that's not part of the gentleman's game. That's not part of acceptable conduct at all.
I think you'll find that's the very first thing I said. Absolutely. But at the moment, you keep talking about an alleged assault, an alleged physical assault. I am talking completely about verbals. I completely agree with every word MS Dhoni said, that you cannot cross that line. And I want both sides to go at each other tough, because that's the way it's always been between England and India. That's the way it should be. But I don't want anyone crossing that line. And at the moment, it's alleged that someone crossed that line, Jimmy Anderson, and the ICC
have to prove or disprove whether Jimmy Anderson crossed that line.
Okay. Before I conclude, I want final words from all our guests, starting with Sourav Ganguly, on what this allegation means for the rest of the series. Now, suddenly, everyone's going to be focusing on this test series with extra intensity because you've got this massive scandal blowing up in the face of fans. They'll be looking at the players, they'll be looking at the actions. Do you think it adds a certain sense of edginess to this test series over and beyond what already existed, Sourav?
Hopefully it does, because we really want to see good cricket, good competitive cricket. Jimmy Anderson has quite some time to really give him a push, because he was outstanding in the previous test match on that pitch. He bowled superbly, he batted brilliantly, so obviously he'll give that extra bit of push. And hopefully it does give Anderson-Jadeja a push as well, because Mahendra Singh Dhoni needs him to pick wickets for him. He's going to be the frontline spinner. Both contributing with the bat, he's got to pick wickets if India has to do well. I said at the start of the series that if India has to win the series in England, the spinners have to stand up. Because they didn't stand up on a dry pitch in Nottingham, a similar sort of pitch where they see in India. So you would have expected Jadeja to do the job for Dhoni, especially when England was 202 to 7. So hopefully it spurs both, and hopefully we can get some good cricket, because that's what we need. Hopefully the pitch will have a little bit of more grass and pace and carry tomorrow. So it will be a different test match than what Nottingham gave it to us. Although Nottingham did provide opportunities for both sides to put pressure on each other, but hopefully a better surface at Lord's will help them.
Nasser Hussain, what will this allegation do to the rest of the series?
I think it was always going to be a spicy series, because these two sides have had, difficulties. England all over the world in the last 8 months, India away from home, and they both want to put it right. Cook wants to put it right, a captain under pressure. Dhoni wants to put it right away from home. This is a vital series. The next 4 tests, there are a few people's jobs hanging on the line. So this was always going to be a spicy series. It would be interesting to see what Dhoni does tomorrow. Well, say he was thinking of leaving Jadeja out for Ashwin, whether now he might think again, because he wants to back his man and not be seen to back down. So whether this has any implication on Jadeja's selection tomorrow, whether he's going to completely back his man. If anything, this will get both sides closer together. Team spirit will be even better, and I don't expect either side to back down. They're going to be going at each other at Lord's.
As they must, without getting physically violent. I think that's the most important thing. Nikhil, will we get to see the back of James Anderson, or do you think he'll be able to hold on till the end of this series when he goes through the process of filing for
the right to appeal?
The right to appeal.
No, I guess he'll still be allowed to play. Make no mistake about it. And by the time the Judicial Commissioner comes, this test match starts from tomorrow, Rahul, and hopefully he'll go on to the 3rd test match as well. So he'll carry on playing. And like Vikrant says, he's got a right to appeal. Even if he's found guilty, then he can appeal and he can still carry on playing. But it'll just spice up the series. I completely agree with Nasser.
It'll make things a lot more exciting, because now you have James Anderson, who's fully charged up, raring to go at the Indian team. You'll also have the Indian team extra plugged in, ensuring that they now back Ravindra Jadeja and ensure that they come back victorious. At least that's what we're hoping for.
The Lords could be the Perth of 2008, you never know. This story is exactly the reverse of what happened there, because India were defending Harbhajan Singh. Harbhajan Singh was dropped the next test match because India wanted to play an extra seamer. India won that test match. Incidents like these can make or break a team. This could happen with England also. You never know. They could regroup. But I think the Indians needed this kind of spark.
Well, from the perspective of purely selfish Indian fans, hopefully this will somehow break the English team and spark the Indian team to perform better than they have been so far and find a way of bowling out all the English batsmen. Nasser Hussain, for bearing this and being a sport, thank you very much. Thanks also to Sourav Ganguly, Nikhil Chopra and Vikrant Gupta. We've got the best experts in England, and they will be tracking this match, which everyone will be focusing on extra intensely all through the day tomorrow right here on Headlines.